treatment and a prognosis and that's so be a saying and about everything I. So we'll start with what is HIV. I'm not say HIV and AADA. So as you see on the screen, HIV is called human immunodeficiency virus. It is a virus that again, it's a virus which means that we now unfortunately only in that cure, so we now need to meet and get rid of it ever in your lifetime. For now, science is still working. But HIV or human immunodeficiency virus, it attacks your immune system. Well, immune system, as we might all be aware, is idea a protected wall from any disease and that's a bacteria. So if you will be not COVID, our immune system, and I was say what that would fight off COVID, we now cold and that. But what HIV does is that it starts to attack the immune system, and that's what CD4 cells. Your CD4 cells, so yeah, take the science class. Your cells are the things that are the building blocks of your whole body, right? So the CD4 are the specific cells that the building will immune system. So basically, it's like who see that. So foundation and PBI, so because your CD4 cells are being attacked, basically your immune system and that's a side that now everything um as we see here, HIV is because it's a virus, it has to find a way to enter your body. But as we see on this screen, HIV is not transmitted by say or your casual contact with anyone. So with me, how will be over to me, I share it with the week. And that's what to me, yeah, it is common handshakes with the week without the risk of cell being at HIV. But so how is it actually transmitted? HIV is transmitted through sexual contact without a condom. Condoms are 99.9 effective at reducing the transmission of HIV. But also, it's not only that, and oftentimes you have HIV AIDS because you're going to say, yeah, oh, you ain't a die, it's into the way. But it is not the only way. It is one of the common ways, but it is not the only way. Healthcare workers, especially, have a risk of HIV transmission because there is a way obi moja, especially when you're a nurse or a doctor, and everything. So obi moja, give it to me internal system somewhere. And so on who was I it takes just one drop of blood, say, will be nice to walk in if I'm putting moja in the count one. There that right there is a way I would to me and got HIV. So there's of course other ways, especially for pregnant women. So if you're mom, it was say that's when you're mad. That is the way I try now that when you go and submit to me and that's a mom and it would be nice to walk with me and my partner and that's what decided says so open man and go for us. I between that and the one from my minutes while crying could be a way I'm crying so but say and then blood transfusions. So, especially in Ghana, blood transfusions are not such a problem in America because America are more systems that so open donate blood that they do a lot of the screening. So, I'm tested for HIV, Hep C, all of those different ways that say yeah, will be at I want to be empowered with your before. But Ghana, yeah, I've heard stories that well, people get to me actually, which are the same that they are will be before. And those are ways that HIV not anymore. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully there's better screening, but I've heard stories of back in the day of going that. So back in the day, in America, that's how we got brown and white because it was through blood transfusion. So it is not 0% chance, but because of the screening is available now, there's a very reduced risk. We've kind of talked about this, but disease progression, like I said, you CD4 cells, a regular or a healthy person, it will about 600 to 1,200 it will system. But so when you say virus about what you want, a shot says a row side, member on so most times within the first 8 years, it be it was I even as long and to test that. When needs are so was I because a very on side and then the very reduces our CD4 levels, below a clinical level. So yeah, so we will AIDS that. So just because we will HIV does not mean so we will AIDS. When you AIDS after says that CD4 levels, it becomes below 200. So that is a clinical diagnosis. I know some Ghana would like to use it interchangeably, but really it's yet the same. For people with HIV, that does not mean so AIDS. AIDS is a clinical diagnosis of when your CD4 levels are below 200. I hope so that makes sense. So as that arrow was sounded, hey, we keep our immune system. So immune system again, that means also when you have COVID, when you have flu, when you have TB, when you have any of those that yeah, that any healthy person can 1 week knock out one ton and my side because immune system needs to be so how can you know so what you yeah? And really our best is to make sure so we don't so we can say because as we'll talk about, there's medications available, so yeah, if it's you have one wonderful and nice, long, healthy life. But the first step is to know so you actually are HIV positive. And testing is quick, confidential, and widely available. I know even around here, the health department, cross over to Indiana, so I Health Plus and to me with all of those testing, and it's all free. Early diagnosis reduces transmission, as we'll talk about, and protects long-term health. And then, as the stewards of God and Christ, knowing your status is an act of stewardship over your health. So it is important that it is recommended by health care professionals that everyone gets tested for HIV at least once a year, and this can be done with your doctor or annual checkups. That I understand and say, you and I hopefully we're staying away from sexual immoralities. But because of the transmission goes around other ways, such as healthcare workers, such as just you don't know what is out there. And it's always important, even if you are happily married, you're having sex with just one person, it is so important. It doesn't cost you any extra money. So phone and check up on it's so for me commonly. They should be screening it already, but it is also important to also ask. So I will pass it on to you next to finish off this presentation. Thank you. Yep, yeah, yeah, questions.
Right. Okay, about treatment and so. Said yeah, Mrs. Takaya, no, unya, yeah, it's not the end of the world. There are ways to treat it that you can live a close to normal lifestyle. Now, treatments is they are shared these various classes. Said yeah, virus net here, it has an RNA part and a DNA part. It's the RNA no and a bit okay to make the DNA. That DNA no I have to be or it's these drugs, first group, NRTIs, they attack the DNA. Say RNA, it's me copy a DNA now. Not a drone interfere with the DNA now, so that the DNA will not be able to proliferate our system. That's one way to reduce your viral load. That the following class, NNRTIs, they interrupt the RNA nankasa no. RNA yɛmfa say it's a copier machine. So copier machine no ɛnyɛ adwuma. You can't get any papers out of it. Yɛmfa say papers no ɛna DNA no. So you are not able to get it. So this second class interrupts the copier machine, the RNA nankasa no. So in the following examples of Indro nankasa no, they have these two main classes no. We do combinations of medication. One of them has to be one of these two classes. The other classes now are three now can also attack the virus at various stages of development. In this screen, I'm going to talk about the treatment, but with treatment that comes prevention. There are medications you can take so that you don't get HIV on a daily basis. Oral medications, the most common ones are a friend of Descovy. So also different Descovy, it is for HIV prevention. So healthcare workers, anybody, a member can take Descovy, but you have to discuss this with your provider, your doctor, or your nurse practitioner. The injectable, aptitude, and I have two go now. Saying normally yes two go neighbor. Aptitude, it's every other month. Let's say at the first month you go back. Second month, me I walk back. Then if you want every other month, you go to your doctor and get one shot instead of taking the Scovy every day. If people walk they don't like taking medications every day. So this injectable option is good for them. About treatments, you will be great for the oral medications. Syntusa, Trimex, Genvoya, Dovado and Biktarbi. Dovado and Biktarbi are the most common ones. At least away a clinic for them. Those are the two most common ones. And also you take them every day. And don't just say if you miss one day, then you're going to die. And I will see the four levels and go down. That's not how it works. But it's advisable, say you take the medication as prescribed. Now saying also normally injectable by air by a friend and capeluva. And also said, yeah, I mean, describe the prevention. The first month, no funny award back. Second month, no funny award another one. If you want every other month, then I'll go for. They are in the work. So with my science is always developing. Say, and convey twice a year, into once every 6 months. And they are also working on a vaccine. CCI, they are all under wraps. I don't have the information to bring to you, but it is good saying, yeah, knowledge, come up with inventions to help cure HIV. U equals U, I'm not sure what saying that means undetectable equals untransmittable. So, fact in yeah, or doctor ever prescribe on a religious basis. Now, CD4 levels no yeah above 200. So that Mrs. Takayano. Now, viral loadness, so no, the acceptable load for you to be considered undetectable is below 50. Yeah, clinic on the 20, below 20, then you're undetectable. This means that service, so only week for that now HIV, now viral load be below 20, you're not able to transmit it to the person. That doesn't mean you should, but that is what it means. Say you are unable to transmit it if you are on these medications religiously. And I say, oh, a healthcare worker now, what accidental prick of a needle from somebody living with HIV now. If you are on this medication, the prevention one, so so viral load below 50 now, found now. That's what it means. Prognosis, say like what are the chances of survival if you get HIV? It is 100% fatal if you don't treat it. Say the other sister early detection is the key. When we in tema, it's going to just eat at your system, and you will eventually die. You won't die from the virus, because virus number said it will just reduce your immune system's ability to fight off other infections. These other infections, they're from opportunistic infection. When your opportunity now, obey deal with you. And since there's no immune system to protect you from getting them, you'll get cardiovascular disease and so many others that will just take advantage of your immune system's inability to protect you. It's early detection. So there are kind of adherence to the medication. Diagnosis of HIV. Now I'm fair grown now. That means you're wide open to all these infections we talked about, the opportunistic ones. A drone will help protect you, help boost your immune system, and reduce the viral load too, and help protect against these opportunistic infections. Quality health care. Any problem we are. But yeah, my Ghana, it's not all the time that somebody will be able to get the funds to go see a doctor to even prescribe these medications. God bless us for having it here. See your doctor, get it started, and a healthy lifestyle. Because you are more risk for getting other infections, it is on you. We did exercise, mental health, and all that has to be on point. It has to be tip top. Because any other infection, any chance now, they will take over. Yeah, one issue around the topic of HIV is stigma. Because of how it started, we have been here and said it's only through sexual transmission. But as we've learned today, there are so many other ways that the ordinary person could get this disease. But our mentality, no, and that's all. And no, it's in your we educate ourselves. Sessions like this are good, but it's as simple as opening your phone, going to Google and Google what is HIV. There's so much information at our fingertips. It's very easy to not be ignorant about HIV these days. Kindness towards each other. Young fan is a survey. Has gotten the disease and we get to know about it. We have no business shunning them from where we are or pulling away. Say, oh, for hugging and mania. So yes, it's like you don't get from hugging this person, you don't get it from just being a human being to this person who actually has it. So the mental health of somebody living with HIV has to be on tip-top shape. It is a falling and now before always shunning them now. And we are Christians. We have to uplift each other. We have to be stewards of each other. and advocates also. It says we have you know, a doctor who is good with treating HIV. Advocate for this person to go and see this doctor. And I say, you see somebody else treating them badly, advocate for them. If the adipana casa AIDS me can because of maybe guilt or the shame or whatever that comes with it. One casa AIDS me you can and be a human being to them. Bible says in Luke 6:37, say Luke 6:37 said, judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. It is that simple. That is our responsibility, whether or not we are living with HIV or we know somebody living with HIV. If HIV, and see your presentation can find, but that's it. Say, what you be saying? No, I don't know. Oh, HIV, which come out. Yeah, HIV. Which you are glad this one now. Because most I said, city compound, level be at. It's been transferred. HIV is not transferred for people. Marvin will do so. Which you are glad to one.
So that one will be specific to the parents. So that's why I am an portion of it is highly recommended someone yes because there can still be a viral load in there and there can be that risk. But that's something that was said, my and the doctor, and I said, and the doctor and the man specific answer. When these educations, I mean, just give the basic, the general idea of what goes on. But it is highly recommended, say, because the doctor will test them for HIV, Hep C, and all those different transmittable diseases. So it is highly recommended someone will be at the you don't, even if you're undetectable, then you don't breastfeed.
Impossible. What's the misunderstanding? HIV say, HIV in your blue understand blood transmission and access sexual intercourse. Blood is sexual intercourse is the and it's me HIV if because during sexual intercourse I didn't see say. And that's why I don't know say blood bad and say the scene and that's
Absolutely. So it's a different discharge that is released during pregnancy sex. But so because it's not said when you will be done, there's different fluids that it is released. So through those things, it's not if the body not bound the fluid, has a viral load and that's a HIV if you to say if you want breast milk and if you want more gel, if you want size treatment and that's the vaginal discharge, not air by side. So through those things. So it's one thing I mean, my confidence that it's highly unlikely say be at the night for air, yes, sex but it is still a chance because of that fluid not is being discharged, and it's being transmitted.
It's not just say anyone sound
Absolutely, it is not. So there are 5 modes that HIV is transmitted. Through blood is the main one. Breast milk from the mother to the baby, and discharge from the vagina and discharge from the semen. Or yes.
My city seven is here. They say, and they are healthy. Yes, sir. And they are healthy. I did not share with education with. Okay, we are say young for near 7 years, but no young I can read.
Programs. This is the slot we were given.
I think that see to me the ye by a piano one. And came to me and this and it with us.
I found meditation. A different idea, they more HIV hospital, and celebrity for that because my daughter, when you are and then the other suitians, or the old Johnson. That's it. on the association. They will be so hospital within 2 years, 3 years. Now, okay. And then I'm going to say, you know, what are you different? The hospital, there, no, and now I'm going.
But I cannot definitely say maybe any different, and I say it's different from their work hospital. I cannot tell you what he is taking because it's not public knowledge.
He caught it early.
There's a good chance to say only power that hospital, no, theirs has gone to the level of 8. So theirs is now a syndrome where they acquired immune deficiency syndrome. So that means that the immune system, like I mentioned, 200, now they are ever struggling. Mike Johnson and I said they're going to maybe our no DNO or Kaichen where it was at 700. So I know the team medication now that's not me out back to 1,000, and I said level 9 and can't obey healthy. But if it gets to be a point, unfortunately you can't return. There's no reversing it. That's why we're saying that it's important to get tested. Knowing your medication never go amount to long.
There's also tests that a doctor has to do to find out which medication will work for you. Maybe at the other hospital has not done that test. They don't know it's actually not working for them. Well, so for our clinic for instance, nurse practitioner, she'll order a specific test to find out this particular medication will work to boost your CD4 cells and reduce your viral load. So it's very important to meet with your doctor and ask for that specific test too. They are supposed to do it, but it doesn't get done all the time. That's your last question.
Well, I think I'm kind of don't want to question. I'm a person. Maybe very Johnson. I don't find that in moving I bet you now go into the case of to the disease. So it can be said there are so many people out there. Since almost catching early, now almost started treatment early, viral to me. Like I said, answering to trauma flash to AIDS and then to HIV, level. Make I said, the early detection always help issue. Nothing was the first one on is start from where you hospital, they are compulsions or more particularly. Prevention medication on. The second one, so and it's a state here like say Michigan. Your loss here will be all HIV, not intentional, or this will be your maybe I will be yours. That's why I said if you are why I'm from start some banana will be a bush here. Also be a whooping. Ultimately will be our name be said in shield for men for who said. Me and this issue well, I'm one and all maybe the TV will use. I said intention is I will regularly speak here. We are to me. It's here in a proud or no what is not you in
yes, there are laws that it's a criminal offense to do that. At least in Indiana, with their age one, it's a felony to intentionally infect somebody with HIV without their knowledge. But over a clinic corner, for instance, for testing, now you're positive, but they do something called contact tracing. So you're supposed to give the names of all those you've been in sexual contact with, not also from or to us, so they can also come for testing to find out if they have the disease or not, and then initiate treatment if they do. So yes, there are laws. I don't know about Michigan, but yes, in Indiana there are.
You're almost certificate as well.
Certificate.
Or HIV or certificate of the
There be any certificate for the one
yeah.
There's nothing to label you as your HIV because this is a highly private test. Because of stigma, it shouldn't be done. The certificates
yeah. No, then that's okay. Let me say no what HIV so what is your bad thing with them we now okay I said that for east. Wow,
Man is still real. It's young boy to get up. Final question.
Sana, only hospitals, I don't know why they do people, but outside the thing with their school, and then they actually they move they all black down, is it their own barbecue or the family? I don't know, they don't know to replace it. They are from one very sure, we said, yeah, say, what's more, I will say, oh, that is why I'm so upset. But the reason is that I was there, and yet they're truthful because they're the wrong. They all black back. I am sure we can land it.
Yeah, that's it. Fine.